방송광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
It's been a full month since the National Assembly passed the impeachment motion against President Yoon Suk-yeol. A lot has changed in that month, but, well, if you look at in a different light, a lot has also stayed the same. The president, for one, refuses to budge from his residence, with this layer of protection around his home only growing. The ruling and opposition parties, they continue to clash, with the ruling party maintaining their support of the president. In the meantime, it is the people, those out in the cold protesting one way or another, and those whose livelihoods are affected that are suffering with seemingly no end in sight to this political uncertainty. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Tuesday, January 14th on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. Welcome to our program. Can you believe it is already January 14th? We're like right around the middle of the month, which means that it's been, exactly a month since the parliament voted to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol. So this impeachment motion is now with the Constitutional Court's 8-person bench. So for the government, it is now on its second acting president, after the parliament impeached acting president Han Duck-soo. But when it comes to the president himself, he has been very still, and I mean that in the literal physical sense. He has not really moved from his residence. The public has not seen the president much in the course of this month, as his Hannam-dong residence has become a kind of this fortress, and the presidential security resisting against the CIO in their warrant execution. The first oral arguments of his impeachment trial are scheduled for today, and Yoon will not show up in person. That's what we're hearing. As for the political parties, the ruling PPP has gone through a round of leadership changes, and that now they're in this emergency leadership structure. But it has amped up its fight against the opposition's impeachment drive, seeing a significant uptick in its approval ratings in recent days. The opposition is still pressing for the president's arrest and insists on insurrection charges, although they removed this from the impeachment bill. But what's happening with the people during this month? Well, daily protests are still ongoing, both for and against the president around his residence. At the same time, the currency is still lingering in the record low levels of the high 1,401 range, against the dollar, which affects a wide range of things. Everything is linked to the economy. We have likely several more months to go in terms of this impeachment trial, which kicks off today. And who knows how long until this situation wraps up completely. So here's hoping that policymakers stop this, politics of division, and work toward improving the situation for the people. All right, that's our main theme for today. For our text topic, we're going to turn to something really fun. What amusement park rides did or do you like to go on? Okay, like thinking back, I don't know. I think that maybe when we're younger, we might have less fear, right? We are fearless. We ride with our hands up, without, screaming, enjoying the thrill of the rides. So what amusement rides did you really like going on? And which rides did you avoid, or which really scared you? Or even till this day, maybe you're just not good with amusement rides. 자, 내가 가장 즐겨 탔던 놀이기구. And also, 무서워서 기피했던 놀이기구. 어떤 거는 진짜 너무 무서워서 like the bungee jumping, that I couldn't do. There are certain amusement parks like in the States, and I'm sure we have them here in Korea as well, where, you know, it's like a bungee plus swing. Yeah, that... Not my cup of tea, but maybe you guys are thrill seekers and you love them all. So you can send in your messages to BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform, search for our channel. BEFM or 부산영어방송 will do it. You can click on subscribe. Also, you need to log in to chat away with our other listeners. We call them waivers. Also, on your phone, pound 9050, 샵 9050. That's going to cost you 101. You can reach me for free on Kakao Talk as well. Same thing there. Search for BEFM, 부산영어방송, to find our channel. Add us as a friend before you can send in your messages and photos too. And the ways you can listen to Morning Wave in Busan these days, there are so many different ways. On the radio, if you're in the Busan area, 90.5 or 103.3 FM. Also, like I just said, we are streaming live as we speak on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. And 2 apps. We have our own BEFM app, also our Patbang app, where you can download both apps for free. Very simple to do. And hopefully you will be in the know. Well, let's look at our lineup for today. It is Tuesday, so what do we have for you? We have Andrew, who's coming in for sports. And then we have Bonnie with the health. Special interview today. We're going to cover something that's been in the headlines quite a bit. It's about incoming U.S. President Donald Trump recently expressing interest in gaining control of the Panama Canal. He also wants Greenland, right? He wants many things, but, you know, those are the 2 main things we're going to cover today, Greenland and the Panama Canal. That's coming up in hour number 2. How feasible are these ideas? And I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:07, and these are today's headlines. Yoon's attorneys demand recusal of a constitutional court justice. President Yoon Suk-yeol's legal representatives demanded that Constitutional Court Justice Chung Kye-sun be recused from his case, claiming her progressive inclinations. Court begins Prime Minister Han's impeachment trial procedures. The Constitutional Court yesterday began the procedures for the impeachment trial of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, with the first preparatory hearings that lasted for about an hour. Veto expected for AI education materials and education subsidies. Acting President Choi Sang-mok is expected to veto 2 opposition-led bills, one of them calling for the adoption of artificial intelligence or AI-generated educational materials, and the other extending subsidies for free high school education in cabinet meetings. Biden unveils AI chip export controls with exceptions for allies. The Biden administration announced new restrictions on artificial intelligence or AI chip exports to block the flow of advanced technologies into China, Russia, and other countries of concern on national security grounds. Seoul and Tokyo agreed to improve relations for 60th anniversary. South Korea will work closely with Japan to reduce the amplitude of tensions caused by long-standing wartime history issues to ensure bilateral relations will move forward in a future-oriented manner. And these are today's headlines. It's time for Busan Updates. We have Sue in the studio. Let's say hi to her first. Good morning.
Good morning, Catherine.
Well, for our very fun text topic, we're talking about amusement rides. Are you a fan?
I'm a thriller seeker.
Oh, thrill seeker.
Thrill seeker, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But not anymore. I don't know what happened to me.
Yes.
You just talked about the bungee jumping swing.
Uh-huh.
I actually had done that. Like I did it when I was like 16 in Korea.
Yes. Would you go again?
No. No, I would chicken out.
Why do you think that has changed though? From then, when you were 16 to now, what has changed?
I don't know. Maybe perspectives. Because maybe I thought that that doesn't look that high, so I try.
Right.
But then now I'm more perceptive towards like heights or
Yes,
whatnot.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I would
Right.
get so
But I
scared.
get you because like I went zip lining.
You did.
It was
okay.
like 9 courses in one kind of deal.
Oh, okay.
And then I looked back and I'm like thinking, what was I thinking? There was no net. I know there are like 2 like hooks or harnesses and stuff. There was no net under. I mean, like.
Really?
Accidents happen, right?
Oh,
so
gosh.
looking back, I'm thinking, why did I do that? And then now, if I had to go again, I would probably say, no, it's okay. I'll stay on the ground. But everybody is very, very different. So let's jump into our first update. The area surrounding Busan National University, PNU, has been designated as an autonomous commercial zone. So this sparks hopes for revitalization of the local economy.
Yes, autonomous commercial zone, 자율상권구역. So the concept encourages local merchants and communities to play an active role in the management and development of the area while benefiting from various governmental institutional assistances. To qualify, zones must meet criteria such as having at least 100 retail and service businesses experiencing ongoing population and business declines and having at least 50% of the area designated as a commercial district. According to 부산일보, the designation was largely driven by the efforts of local business owners. The PNU commercial district has suffered stagnation for a long period, especially by the COVID-19 pandemic. In the first quarter of last year, the district had the highest small-scale commercial vacancy rate in the city at 25.6%. In response, business owners organized the PNU Autonomous Commercial Zone Association and worked diligently to secure agreement from other business owners and property owners for the zone's designation. And finally, the Kumjonggu District Office announced the designation of the area in front of PNU Station in 장전2동, 장전동 2. Within this zone, 246 stores are currently operational and there are 95 vacancies.
That's right. And if for our waivers, if you've been there recently, it is so different from like before the pandemic. It's like very, very empty. The storefronts, lots of for lease signs. So tell us about some of the benefits for businesses.
So businesses within the zone can register as 온누리 gift card merchants and they are eligible to receive special provisions for the installation of auxiliary parking facilities,
Yes.
incentives related to commercial lease agreements, and support funds for modernization of commercial infrastructure. The designation qualifies the district to apply for Busan City's 2026 commercial revitalization project, which could provide up to 10 billion won, 100억 won, in funding over 5 years. So the district office plans to finalize a 5-year strategic plan by next month and apply for the revitalization project.
I see. Well, thanks for telling us about this one. Hopefully, it'll really revive that area. Next, a series of advanced industrial complexes and mixed-use office facilities are set to be established in 해운대 for regional economic revitalization.
Yes, many developments are going on in the city.
Yes.
So in September 2024, the city approved the construction of a new business facility on the former 홈플러스 site in Marin시티. It will consist of 2 buildings, each up to 51 stories, with 8 underground levels. It will feature offices, retail spaces, and community amenities, enhancing Marin시ty's functionality as a self-sufficient urban area. Excuse me. In addition, there is the Centum 2 Urban High-Tech Industrial Complex project. It's called Centum 2지구 도시첨단 산업단지 조성공사, which is a key development aimed at transforming the region into a hub for advanced industries. Construction for Phase 1 began after selecting contractors in September 2024. The location includes 반려, 반송, and 석대동 in Haeundae-gu district, and it is designated as the Busan-style Pangyo Techno Valley. The complex will host industries such as ICT, 정보통신기술, knowledge services, film and video content, advanced marine technology, and integrated materials industries. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, 국토교통부, designated Centum 2 district as an urban convergence special zone, 도심 융합특구, last November. So it is expected to accelerate the project.
Okay. Well, what other facilities or construction are planned?
So in Daesungdong, Unicorn Tower will be built on the former Hanjin CY site. This 25-story structure will house startups specializing in AI and other high-tech industries alongside venture capital firms. Also, plans are underway to establish Global Quantum Complex. This is a quantum computing hub, 양자 Computing, and on the former Sega Sammy site in Centum City. So all these projects are expected to make Haeundae as a central hub for advanced industries.
Wow. So a lot to look forward to in this area. All right. Next up, the Busan Metropolitan Office of Education has announced a plan for improving school cafeteria environment. So walk us through some of the changes.
Yes, the Education Office will increase the number of cafeteria staff by 100 this year with a goal of adding 300 more by 2026. The school cafeteria ventilation systems will be completely replaced to eliminate health risks such as respiratory issues caused by cooking fumes. And the office will upgrade the school cafeteria equipment by allocating 342 million won, 342억 won, to modernize cafeterias in 34 elementary, middle, high, and special schools.
Okay.
227 million won, 227억 won, will be spent on replacing outdated cooking equipment in 385 schools. Gas cooking devices will be switched to electric ones as well.
I see.
And also to improve the working environment and prevent diseases among cafeteria staff, the Education Office will pilot the use of cooking robots and electric cooking pots with automatic rotation features. And the office will provide cleaning service fees to ease the cleaning burden in risky areas like range hoods, 주방 환기 후드, and ducts, which is like ventilation pipes, to all schools. And lastly, a lightweight cover for trains will be also implemented as part of a continuing pilot program to reduce maintenance efforts.
Well, hopefully this will all enhance safety and health and efficiency of school cafeterias. Very important for students and staff members, of course, for schools. Well, next, the city of Busan Mayor Park Hyung-jun announced that for the new year 2025, they have produced and released 2 new theme songs. Is this correct?
Yes. So the first song is called Busan is good, 부산이라 좋다. So it's a celebration of the dreams and happiness of the citizens of Busan. The lyrics go like, the place where my life begins, the place where my dreams come true.
Oh, is this what we hear in the background?
상상 이상의 부산이야 이제 내 꿈 이룰 거야 행복한 부산.
So this is the first song, right? Once
Yes.
again?
So in 2024, Busan ranked 6th in Asia in the Economist Intelligence Unit's Global Livability Index. The song is titled after Busan's city brand Busan is Good, emphasizing Busan as a city of citizen happiness. And it also captures the vision of Busan as a global hub city, expanding its reach to the world.
Right. And, like the whole idea of Busan is good in English versus 부산이라 좋다, it's like, it kind of loses a little something in the translation, but
Yeah.
still. So what's the second song?
It's called 우리 부산에 가자. Let's go to Busan. So it conveys the various charms of Busan as a cultural and tourist city.
Yes.
It celebrates the city's unique attractions and vision, inspired by its recognition as one of the global 5 best beach cities by New York Times, and its inclusion in Trip.com's 2024 Top 100 Global Travel Destinations. This travel-themed song highlights Busan's appeal as a cultural and tourist hub. And young artists and aspiring musicians from the city work together to write the lyrics and compose the music and even sing the song themselves. And these tracks are available on the music platform, and the music videos will be available on the city's official Busan Tube.
Ah, okay. Well, we look forward to hearing them and seeing all the songs, and hopefully that'll get the word out. So thank you so much for all the updates, Sue. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.
Okay, bye.
And I'll be back with our traffic and weather. It is now time for your traffic report. It is now 7:19 on this Tuesday morning. There's an accident on Gangmyeon-daero going towards Dae. An accident right before the Hadan-Gangbyeon three-way intersection. Also some traffic on Luno-Samseong-daero from Myeongji Underpass to Shinho Bridge. Also, congestion detected on the Dongso Overpass from Hwangryum Ramp to the old Kaegum Tollgate. Also looking quite slow from the Manduk intersection to the Namhae Expressway Gupo Nakdong Gangyo Bridge. Here's the weather report. It is currently 3 degrees here in Santam under clear sky, so it is warmer. The city is still under a dry weather special alert. The daytime high will go up to 12 degrees Celsius under cloudy skies. And looking at the weather nationwide, it is going to be cloudy with snow or rain in parts of Gyeonggi, Gangwon, Chungcheong, and Gyeongbuk. It will be, once again, relatively warmer today with daytime highs expected to be between 3 and 12 degrees Celsius. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's now time for News Digest. We have Haley in the studio. Good
It
morning.
was not me. It was our engineer.
Yes.
And then it was a little bit me.
Yeah,
The little
the second one.
The little was me, but the was the engineer.
Indeed.
I got to write him out.
Let's talk about amusement rides. Are you a fan? Are you
Can't
good
get
on
enough
them?
of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Even now?
Yeah, Fearless. The Seraphim. Anyways, yeah, I love anything without, as our producers laughing at me, we need a mic on her, stat. Yeah, anything with speed, anything that drops. Not a big fan of like the teacups, the spinning teacups.
Oh,
Those,
spinning.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
You know which one I tried here in Korea, but I don't remember this in the States. What is it called? The disco pang pang thing where
oh my God.
I got bruises on my arms.
Yeah, I think
from,
they don't
hanging
have
off
them in
for
the
dear life.
States because of insurance reasons.
Because you can get whiplash.
You don't, those don't have seatbelts.
No.
It's, by the way, for people who have not been on, it's
Is that what it's called?
Disco pang pang, right? It's a huge disc, and there are just bleacher seats, like one row of bleacher seats, and
It's
just
like-
railing behind you
Right.
that you hold on for
Dear
dear
life.
life.
And then the way
and then
you
the DJs will like bump you, and
On purpose.
They have all these contraptions and buttons where
Yes.
they can bump specific parts, and I've seen them, they'll like bump couples to separate them. That was
and they'll bump where there's lots of loud screaming.
that's true. That's true.
And so
yeah.
that's usually where I am, where I'm
Yeah.
screaming. So yes.
I mean, it's a good workout. You know,
I got
works your
bruises.
biceps,
I
works
was
your
like-
cores, but
Once
I
was
think,
enough.
Yeah, there
Yes.
are better ways to work out. Yeah.
All right, let's get into our first story. So, the first story for News Digest is regarding the 2 North Korean soldiers captured by Ukrainian forces. So, what do we know about the situation thus far?
Right. So Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he released a video of the Ukrainian forces interrogating these 2 captured North Korean soldiers with translations or interpretation provided by the South Korean National Intelligence Service. I actually have a clip from Zelensky's Twitter feed, so let's take a listen to that right now.
여기 지휘관들 모자는 뭐라고 그랬어요? 누구랑 싸운다고 했어요?
훈련을 실전처럼 해본다고 했어요.
북한의 가족들이 없어? 있어? 부모님은 지금 너 어디 있는지 알아?
So obviously the interpreters, their voices have been changed. But to give you a bit of English, Ukrainian forces ask if the soldiers know where they are. They were told no, and they had to inform them you are in Ukraine. The soldiers were apparently never told that they were going to the front lines and fighting against Ukraine, only that they're going into like real training. They got to the front lines on January 3rd, saw their fellow soldiers get wounded. He himself, one of the soldiers interviewed, said he got wounded on January 5th.
Okay.
And then to the second soldier, when he's asked if he wants to go back to North Korea, he hesitates, and this is not from the clip that we played for you, but he later asks, are people of Ukraine all nice? And then says that he wants to stay there. And the man says if the authorities tell them to go home, they will, but if they tell him to stay, he will as well. So while they're not outright saying they want to stay, it seems that they do. The second captive says he has family, perhaps parents, in North Korea, but also signals that he doesn't really want to go back to the north.
I see.
And then there were reports coming back to South Korea that said that went as far as saying that the South Korean government has decided to accommodate these captive soldiers. However, yesterday the Unification Ministry clarified that this is not the case, at least right now. Things haven't really been gotten discussed to that level quite yet.
Right. So it does seem that Ukraine has been actively using these North Korean soldiers and kind of images to turn the tides.
Right. So first, they've released massive numbers of flyers into the air to get the North Korean soldiers on the battlegrounds to surrender.
Okay.
So the propaganda leaflets say, don't die without a purpose. Surrendering is the way to live. And then one pro-Ukrainian civilian group says that North Korean soldiers fear Ukraine's first-person view, or the FPV drones. So that the soldiers are taking over civilian homes in Russia to hide in these homes.
Yes.
And Ukraine says that at least 4,000 out of the 11,000 North Korean soldiers dispatched to the front lines have died, and that Russia is only using these soldiers as human shields. As for South Korea, the National Intelligence Service, or the NIS, confirmed yesterday that about 300 North Korean soldiers died and 2,700 are wounded. They analyzed it based on recent battlefield footage that the lack of understanding of modern warfare, including drones, and how the Russians are using the soldiers, these are resulting in these large casualties. In the meantime, going to the United States, the Pentagon says that the deployment of North Korean troops to the front line, it makes the fighting much harder for Ukrainian forces, that Russia is apparently making incremental gains on the battlefield and introducing these 12,000 troops, North Korean troops. And the spokesperson of the Pentagon described them as relatively well-disciplined and competent. It is making at least a little bit of a difference.
Yes. So that is the latest on what's happening with the North Korean soldiers and, of course, the war at large. Now, we're going to turn to the issue that affects all of us, cost of living, and especially eating out.
Right. So, Waivers, what are you having for lunch?
I don't
what have you
know.
been having for lunch?
So expensive. No
It's gotten so expensive. So I usually pack my own lunch, but then once in a while I'll go out. It's like a quarterly thing. And I'm like, that wasn't the price 3 months ago.
shock.
That was
Yes.
not how much I paid a year ago. So a new year. Time to look back at how much it cost to feed ourselves last year. So according to Statistics Korea, there was a 3.1 increase in consumer prices for eating out last year. That was compared to the year before. Good news, it's about half the increase from the year before. So we were looking at like a 6% increase 2 years ago.
Yes.
However, eating out cost, it's still higher than overall inflation, which stood at 2.3%. Especially though, if we are looking at very common, what's supposed to be cheaper lunch items, we're looking at huge increases like 도시락, the popular lunchbox, 5.9%, almost a 6% increase. Tteokbokki, which was like the cheap fare for after school, but that's gone up by 5.8%.
Right.
Burgers, 5.4%, and kimbap at 5.3%. And then there was a 4% range increase for most noodle items, and especially steep uptick at workplace cafeterias at 6.7%. And once again, these are supposed to be the cheaper options.
Yes.
And that was the highest increase since record-taking began 24 years ago.
Wow.
So this so-called lunch inflation, it's linked to the rise in major ingredients. Agricultural, livestock, and fisheries ingredients rose by 5.9%, with an almost 17% spike in fruit prices.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's the projection for this year?
Right. So maybe start packing your lunches if you haven't already. This trend is expected to continue because the underlying threats still exist. Climate change still posing a
Right.
threat, the currency rate impacting all the imported ingredients. And then with this, manufacturers and retailers, they are trying to come up with cheaper options, whether they be brief promotions or just smaller portions. So if you are, be on the lookout for that.
I see. So, I don't know, maybe like Umberto says, my lunch is whatever my wife cooks the night before or whatever she packs for me.
Yeah,
Be
leftovers are
gracious.
great.
Say thank you. Yes. And as this is going on, the monetary authorities are set to announce the year's first interest rate.
Right. Keep your fingers crossed.
Okay, here we
Yeah. So this Thursday, so it's in a couple of days, the 16th, the Bank of Korea or the BOK will make the call on the year's first benchmark interest rate. So the BOK right now, it is currently torn between helping the economy with demand
Right.
versus getting control of the currency rate. So the two big dilemma. Because demand is plummeting, right? So due to martial law declaration and the subsequent impeachment situation. So in order to get money flowing, or at least get people to spend money,
Yes.
the BOK theoretically should lower the interest rate to lower the burden on the people who are paying interest on their various loans and mortgages.
Yes.
However, then we have the U.S. factor. Because if the interest rate gap widens any further with the U.S., then that can weigh unfavorably on the Korean won, and that's still very much closer to 1,500 than 1,400. It's on the upper range of 1,400 won per dollar.
Exactly. So, what do the experts say on this?
Right. So Yonhap News actually surveyed 6 economists. 3 versus 3. So it is just smack in the middle,
Okay.
torn. So 3 of the experts say that the benchmark interest rate will stand still at 3%, citing currency reasons.
Okay.
However, the other 3 say that the currency is basically as high as it can get. So they're saying it's stable, meaning it's at the peak. So they are urging for boosting demand. In any case, most experts do see that overall for the entire year, the BOK will lower the interest rate to about 2 to 3 times this year, about 0.25% each time for a total of 0.5 to 0.75% drop. However, when? Will that start this month or will it start next month in February? That's still up in the air.
I see. So, kind of a mixed bag of news and expectations. Well, we're going to turn to our last story. You know, we've been covering this quad-demic. We even had this special interview on this yesterday. And the situation in South Korea is quite serious.
Right. So looking at a little bit of a side, the number of deaths with pneumonia-related causes, with the flu being the underlying problem, this figure has spiked so much. There's a backup at cremation sites.
Oh my goodness.
Right. These are 화장터. So those who work in the funeral industry, they say that they've seen a spike in pneumonia, 폐렴 cases, and related deaths since the end of December, pointing to the flu as an underlying cause. So for example, in the city of Cheongju, their only crematorium is completely booked through today, with tomorrow's reservations also almost fully booked. And because of this, in Korea, there's usually a 3-day funeral period, but
Yes.
a lot of families are forced to lengthen that to 4 days. And one official from Chungbuk National University Hospital's funeral center says that they haven't really seen this except for the peak of COVID cases. So that's kind of where we stand. Please be careful, practice personal hygiene. If you haven't been vaccinated, please go get vaccinated.
Yes. As the doctor said yesterday, we need to do our utmost. And, as all the experts say, instead of the sanitization, what do we call it?
The hand sanitizers?
Yeah, instead of that, they recommend a hand washing with warm water and soap. They say that is much more effective. Well, thank you for all the news. We will check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
And with that, let's get to our first song of the morning. How about this one, You Give Love a Bad Name by Bon Jovi.
Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Welcome back, listeners. I have a public service announcement for you. The Korean National Police Agency has issued this public service announcement at 7:14 a.m. on January 14th, 2025 nationwide. Regarding the Jeju airplane crash, the Korean National Police Agency is conducting a thorough investigation into defamatory posts and videos that harm the honor of the victims and their families. Spreading false rumors or posting defamatory contents and videos indiscriminately is a serious crime. Please refrain from actions that could further hurt the bereaved families. This was a public service announcement from the Korean National Police Agency. And I'm sure, our listeners out there don't need reminding, but apparently some people do still. All right, so text topic, amusement park rides. Are you a fan of them? Or are you scared of them? Do you avoid certain ones? Like I talked about the disco 팡팡 thing. That I would never go on again. 내가 가장 즐겨 탔던 놀이기구. 무서워서 이거는 꼭 피했어요. 혹은 아직도 피합니다. For example, there are members in my family that are deathly scared of, what is it called? The Viking? 바이킹 못하는 가족분들. 예, 2명이나 있어요. In my family, personally, because for whatever reason, like they get that, that feeling in the pit of your stomach that makes you feel like kind of slightly nauseous. Yeah. So I have a message from Chunwon saying, I have a memory at an amusement park. I asked my girlfriend, wasn't the corn dog there really good? But she said she'd never tried it before. It was the scariest memory from there. And then he backs it up. Let me fix that. My ex-girlfriend, he says. Leslie checking in with us. Hi, Leslie. She says that she's afraid of heights and also the feeling of falling, that feeling in the stomach that I was talking about. So I am not a roller coaster person. I am the official jacket or drink holders for those. I love any type of water ride. I agree. I can say it, Roaring Rapids. It was a type of ride at like Magic Mountain back in the day. It's like 8 seats or 10 seats. I don't remember how many seats there were. It's like round and you go down and it's like a little canal waterway. And those are always a lot of fun. Not too scary. And depending on where you sit, you can get soaked, right? Anyhow, thank you for your messages. We'll read more in a little bit, but we got to get to Cat's Pick for today. For today's Cat's Pick, I want to talk about morning coffee. Apparently, at what time you drink your coffee, it might be really beneficial, more beneficial for your health. Let's listen to the clip from the Today Show.
Good news this morning if you're reaching for that morning cup of coffee.
The health benefits it can offer are being revealed in a brand new study out just this morning.
Yes, and here with everything we need to know about that cup of joe, Dr. John Torres. Hi.
Morning.
So, coffee, caffeine, is that what it is? It's good for us, but it matters when?
And, we've known throughout the years that coffee is good for us. Usually they say about 2 to 4 cups a day can really help with all-cause mortality, with cardiovascular health, all these things. But we've never looked at the timing, and that's what this study did. It looked at the timing and found out that if you drink that coffee before noon, you get those benefits. If you drink it after noon, you don't get any benefits.
And why wouldn't you?
Well, we think there's a couple reasons. Number one, it turns out that in the morning, because of our circadian rhythms, we absorb the antioxidants a lot better than we do in the afternoon. Plus, we think in the afternoon that caffeine can interfere with your melatonin, which can interfere with your sleep, and we know how crucial sleep is.
So what if you're not a coffee drinker? Like what if you drink tea or drink something else in the morning? Should you now switch to coffee?
And one of the things we found out in the study was whether it was caffeinated or decaffeinated did not matter. It was the coffee itself that was matter. And we think that's the antioxidants in there. But the caffeine can help too. And the same thing with tea. Tea has those antioxidants. One thing about tea though that's interesting is they found out in a study that tea you can get half the caffeine in there, but it's not giving you the melatonin interference. And so during the day, we think that tea drinking is going to be okay during the day. Whereas coffee, you want to make it in the morning.
So you could have decaf coffee in the morning if you're not into caffeine and still get the benefits.
Yes, decaf, but you can't.
Did I get an A on that test?
But you cannot have the decaf coffee in the afternoon to get those benefits, according to this study. Huge study, 40,000 people plus, over a 20-year period. They followed them for 10 years, and they found out again that all-cause mortality was decreased by 16%.
Oh.
The majority of that was because of cardiovascular mortality. That was decreased by 31%.
Is it gonna hurt you if you drink coffee in the afternoon?
It's not going to hurt you, but you got no benefit from it, according to this. This is the cardiovascular benefits we're talking about. And so, again, one of those things, should you drink coffee? Should you start drinking coffee? And it depends. If you have a family history of heart disease, you might want to think about it because you can get some benefits, obviously, in the morning on this study. But the studies do go back and forth, and we've known that for years. And so we'll see what happens when we stay tuned.
So in short, it seems that a morning cup of joe appears to be good for the heart, but it might be, I don't know, is it time to reconsider the afternoon coffee run? They're not saying it's bad for you, but you definitely won't get the benefits. It's not the same as drinking coffee in the morning. And this was today's Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
I have my yellow sibling.
What's going on? What?
Okay, for those of you who are not on our YouTube channel, I'm not calling Andrew's skin color yellow. I'm talking about his hoodie.
Yeah.
Like a mustard yellow.
Yeah.
Mine's like a pale lemon yellow.
The way I put it is
Easter
cat
yellow?
is like an Easter egg.
Yes.
That kind of yellow. Mine is in your face spicy mustard.
You got to put the spicy in, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I have to really go back before we get into the sports. I have to go back to Cat's hot take. Was it hot take?
Cat's pick.
Cat's pick. Well, I'm going to say it's Cat's hot take about coffee and when to drink it. I love how they're like, health benefits. I've been drinking coffee for a while.
Yes.
And I know a lot of coffee drinkers. And I don't know anybody who picks up their tumbler or whatever it is like, I'm drinking this because of the health benefits.
Oh, of course not.
They're like, I need fuel to get through the day.
I need to open my eyes.
Exactly. So I think, as I'm well-intentioned, I think the doctor, I also think that, in reality, maybe now people have an excuse that they're having their coffee or 4 cups before 10 a.m. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I just thought that was kind of funny.
People are really loving I can't say the brand name, but your hoodie.
Oh, it's not available in Korea. It's okay. It's a Canadian company. I'm just, I don't know. I'm not throwing out brands out there. But anyway, I have a few of them. I know our listeners probably seen it a few times. Right. Anyway, to sports. We got a few things to get through here. We're going to start off with some soccer or football. Now, Barcelona triumphed over Real Madrid in a stunning 5-2 victory. I don't know why I used the word stunning. It was more like a trouncing. They stomped all over them.
Yes.
In the Spanish Super Cup final held in Saudi Arabia on Sunday, the match started with an early goal from Kylian Mbappe. And actually, I was watching this game and I thought, oh no, has Mbappe actually turned it on here? What's going to happen?
He has, switched it on.
It was kind of brief. Barcelona quickly turned the tide with, the youngster Lamine Yamal equalizing and Robert Lewandowski converting a penalty to put them ahead. And there was no looking back after that. The win not only extends Barcelona's record to 15 Super Cup titles, and I put this in here tongue-in-cheek because we talk a lot about some of the English teams who would love this problem. It also ends a year-long trophy drought. Just a year.
Just a year.
Just a year for the club. Now, Coach Hansi Flick emphasized that its importance of winning titles, stating, goal for big clubs is always to win titles. And I would also say that, they need the money as well. I don't know how they're in such dire straits, but they are.
Yes.
Now, Rodrigo did manage to score for Madrid from a free kick after Szczesny's dismissal, so there was a red card in the game, but it was not enough to change the outcome in this thrilling El Clasico encounter.
Yes, yes. So always fireworks between these two teams. But I heard you say the game was played in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, so
is there a particular reason?
Yeah, and I think most people probably could understand the reason. It does come down to something we would like to call cash.
Yes.
All right, so
Moolah.
There's a deal between the Spanish FA and Saudi Arabia from the government to play this year. I think the contract's until 2029. Now, the deal is worth approximately 30 million euros per edition. So every time it's held there, it's 30 million euros. Now, this aims to generate significant revenue for Spanish football, and they try to say particularly benefiting, the smaller clubs in La Liga. But I just want to break down the payout here and see if this is really helping the smaller clubs.
Yes.
So Barcelona entered the Supercopa with a base payout of around 6.5 million, slightly less than Real Madrid. So they are paid out on, their stature, I guess, in world football.
Sure.
But significantly more than Atletico Madrid, who was the Athletic Club, who was the other team in there. There's 4 teams in this little tournament who only got 2.2 million. And then Mallorca got just shy of $1 million.
That's
dollars.
a big drop, though.
So, which is kind of quite ridiculous, really. Now, Mallorca's payout increased to over $1 million because Barcelona and Real Madrid agreed to pay them some of their money, kind of like help them out, because Mallorca is a smaller club in the league.
Yes.
In addition to the base payouts, Barcelona earned performance bonuses totaling approximately almost 10 million euros, or dollars, actually. This is changed to dollars, which included an extra 2.2 million for victory and 1.1 million for being a finalist, which is, I don't know. It's, sure, it's going to the lower clubs, but just, I don't know how much. Maybe like $50 here or there. I'm not really sure. Don't lie to us, people.
Right. But also, there was the FA Cup action in England over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Any upsets?
Yeah. So I always love to watch these here because you love to see some giant killers. You know what I mean? Teams from the lower leagues.
Yes.
There wasn't really anything except Plymouth Argyle knocked off Premier League. Plymouth Argyle playing the championship.
Right.
So only one league below knocked off Premier League side Brentford 1-0, which sets them up to travel to Anfield to play Liverpool, which will, obviously be a big game for them. But Tottenham actually traveled to non-league side Tamworth, and this happened. Let's get to our clip.
The kickoff for the FA Cup third-round tie between Tottenham and Tamworth was delayed for a bizarre reason, as players attempted to fix a problem with the goal netting. Ange Postecoglou's side travelled to the Lamb Ground on Sunday, with 96 league places separating them from their National League opposition Tamworth. With a dream fixture against the Premier League giants awaiting them, the semi-professional players awaited one of the biggest games of their career. That was until a hole was spotted in the netting in the roof of the home side's goal. Goalkeeper Jas Singh was the first to attempt to resolve the problem, but was unable to repair the gap in the netting. He was then joined by forward Bekray Onoru, who clambered onto a teammate's shoulders who used a roll of tape to make the necessary repairs as the officials looked on.
So that is the clip, right?
Yeah, it was from Mail Sport Football. So it's kind of interesting to hear, and this is what you get when you go to some non-league sides and some absolutely beautiful grounds around the country, but you do get these, guys on shoulders trying to fix netting where you would never see this in the Premier League. So, and also at the Lamb Ground, it only seats 4,000 people, which compared to the just shy of 50,000 or a little more than that you get at, the Spurs Stadium. Now, Spurs did end up getting the job done 3-0, but it was interesting, some of the quotes coming out before and after this game.
It was hilarious.
Tamworth striker Tancrini, he said, Spurs won't like our changing rooms. Even we don't like them. We also have 6 showers, but only 3 of them work.
Oh, my gosh.
Perhaps some of the Spurs lads will enjoy the experience because it will make them feel grateful for what they have, but they won't like our place. It's kind of they call it the beauty of the FA Cup, seeing some Premier League giants go to non-league sides.
Right.
And I'm not saying that just because it was Tottenham, but I really wish the non-league side would have won because, you just like to see that journey continue.
Of course, the underdog story.
Exactly. And then possibly if they go to a bigger team, or they were to travel to, the Tottenham Stadium or to say Anfield, they get a lot more revenue as well, which could make or break some of these teams.
And you know what? If you watch that game, they could have won it. So it was bad.
Yeah, it was not the best.
Let's not talk about that.
Yes.
All right. So let's move on to our next sport.
Yeah, I was going to quickly just mention college football, the national championship between Notre Dame and Ohio State, which is, I don't want to say it's a lot of people didn't expect this, with this new format for college football, with Oregon getting knocked off. They're the number 1 seed by Ohio State. But, the number 7 versus number 8 seed in this tournament are now in the final, which is, kind of amazing to see. But I think that's what tournaments are all about. But I really wanted to get to our last story, kind of a feel-good story with everything that's been going on in Los Angeles and the area. And our hearts go out to those people for sure.
Yes.
Is that, life does go on for other businesses and things like that. And the LA Rams, actually, they're supposed to play the Minnesota Vikings in a playoff match. And, it was supposed to be held in LA. Well, they're not going to obviously do that. So what's going to happen is they're going to move their game to Arizona in Glendale and play where the Cardinals play. And it was interesting, I wanted to say about the facts, because this is something you don't usually see in any sports, because a home field advantage, you don't want to leave your home stadium.
Right.
And I was looking into this, and ESPN actually did the research for this, is that will be the second game in NFL playoff history not to be played at the team's home stadium in history of the NFL. But the last time this was in 1936.
Wow.
NFL championship game between the Green Bay Packers and the former Boston Redskins. And it was interesting that a few days after this game, Boston was moved to Washington.
Oh,
and this game was actually moved to New York, to the Polo Grounds, because of low ticket sales at Fenway Park, because they used to play at Fenway Park.
Right. Very interesting indeed.
Yes.
So we're going to call it a wrap for the
Sounds
sports.
good.
We'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Andrew.
Have a good one.
And we're going to end it on this one with a song request from Benny, Roller Coaster, very fitting, by Chungha.
I remember very first time in love. I remember. 너도 같은 기분일까? So I'm in love. 왜 이래도 되는지 싶어. 그래, 너 때문에 매일 즐거워. 조금 서두르는 것 같아도 baby. 심장이 훅 내려앉게 달콤해. 가끔은 상처받을까 걱정돼. 처음부터 모든 걸 알 순 없겠지. 하지만 난 다 던져볼래. 자꾸 아찔한 이 느낌, 위험한 이 느낌. 내 손을 꼭 잡아줘. I want you. 흔들리지 않게 조금 더 뜨겁게 나를 꼭 더 안아줘. 난 롤러코스터, 롤러코스터. I need your love, baby your love. 뻔히 바라볼 때 가슴이 떨려. 아닌 척해봐도 뻔히 다 걸려. 내가 먼저 말하지 않아도 이미 다 알아. 넌 내 맘과 같아.
Hi, this is Catherine. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. So, Professor, can you do me a favor and pronounce your last name for me, please?
Yeah. Zierler.
Zierler. Okay, got it. So we're going to go live with you in about 24 minutes from now, but it is a live show, so the timeline, it's a bit fluid. And if you can, after our test call, mute your mic and then unmute in about 19-20 minutes right before our interview, that would be great.
Perfect.
And our producer, she's saying for the optics, can you sit just a little bit away from the camera? It's the angle's a little bit too tight right now. Oh, she says it's good now. Okay. So if you can kind of remember that distance when we go live with you in about 23 minutes, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, it's Professor Matt Zierler?
Yep.
Okay, got it. All right, talk to you real soon. I look forward to our interview.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye.
지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
These are the guidelines for action for people in the event of an apartment building fire. First, if evacuation is possible in the event of a fire in your home, move to a safe place in a low posture by using stairs. And if evacuation is difficult, move to an evacuation space or block the door gap and call 119 for rescue. Second, if a fire breaks out in another home and no flames or smoke enters your home, wait inside the home, call 119, and act according to the announcement. Third, if flames and smoke come into your home in the event of a fire in another home, check to see if evacuation is possible and then evacuate or request rescue. This was brought to you by the Ministry of the Interior and Safety and the National Fire Agency.
살림꾼 김재우의 살림템 추천. 창틀 바람막이로 실내 온기 지켜줄게. 포장은 다회용기로, 플라스틱 거절한다. 우리 식재료로 유통을 줄이면 탄소를 줄일 수 있어. 이 모든 건 기후위기에 대응하는 지구 살림템. 여러분도 함께해요. 공익광고협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning,
Dynamic Busan.
yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
The time is now 8 o'clock, and this is News Highlights. Yoon's attorneys demand recusal of a constitutional court justice. President Yoon Suk-yeol's legal representatives demanded that Constitutional Court Justice Chung Kye-sun be recused from his case, claiming her progressive inclinations. Yoon's lawyers claim that Justice Chung's history of serving on a legal society of progressive judges and her proclivities expressed during the confirmation hearing show that it will make it hard for the court to make a fair ruling. The Constitutional Court will convene a meeting of justices today to discuss the matter. The court can reject the request if it is apparently aimed at delaying the trial. Court begins Prime Minister Han's impeachment trial procedures. The Constitutional Court yesterday began the procedures for the impeachment trial of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, with the first preparatory hearings that lasted for about an hour. Han's defense team claimed that he, as acting president, did not refuse to appoint the 3 Constitutional Court justices, which is what the opposition Democratic Party argued in their impeachment motion, but only temporarily delayed the decision. The defense team also asked the court to proceed with Han's case first, instead of giving priority to the president's impeachment trial. Veto expected for AI education materials and education subsidies. Acting President Choi Sang-mok is expected to veto 2 opposition-led bills, one of them calling for the adoption of artificial intelligence or AI-generated education materials, and the other extending subsidies for free high school education in cabinet meetings. The ruling People Power Party, or PPP, yesterday asked Choi to exercise his veto power against the 2 bills passed by the opposition-dominated National Assembly last month. Choi, who also serves as finance minister, is expected to veto the subsidy extension bill today and the AI materials bill on January 21st, according to ruling party officials. Biden unveils AI chip export controls with exceptions for allies. The Biden administration on Monday local time announced new restrictions on artificial intelligence or AI chip exports in its last move to block the flow of advanced technologies into China, Russia, and other countries of concern on national security grounds. These restrictions will set a cap for the amount of computation power countries can purchase, with exceptions for 20 key U.S. allies and partners, including South Korea. AI chip makers in the U.S. reportedly remain opposed to the rule, as it could get in the way of their efforts to sell their products overseas at a time of growing demand for AI applications worldwide. Seoul and Tokyo agreed to improve relations for 60th anniversary. South Korea will work closely with Japan to reduce the amplitude of tensions caused by long-standing wartime history issues to ensure bilateral relations will move forward in a future-oriented manner, Seoul's top diplomat said yesterday. Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yeol made the remarks after talks with Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya, stressing the importance of enhancing bilateral ties and agreed to reduce the amplitude of tensions caused by historical issues. The 2 ministers said they also discussed preparations for the 60th anniversary of the normalization of diplomatic relations, expressing hopes that it will serve as additional momentum for the 2 countries' path toward the future. And this was News Highlights. It's now time for Waglwagle. Haley's back in the studio with us.
I'm back, and I just had a cup of coffee for my health.
For your health?
Thanks to you.
Well, I always get my morning, like my coffee in the morning.
Oh, right,
like,
right.
You know,
well,
my cutoff is 2 p.m. I can't go to bed at all.
That's true. Yeah, I mean,
So it's
3-ish for me. But then
really?
some days you just need that afternoon pick-me-up. And you're like, I
yes.
just, right now, I can't think about 10 p.m. tonight. I just gotta get my caffeine.
Yeah, you gotta
What
just
can you do?
Get through it. All right, first, with the current martial law and impeachment situation, the president is suspended from his duties pending the Constitutional Court's impeachment ruling, but he's still getting his paycheck plus the annual pay raise.
Because it is the new year, and government officials, public servants, they do automatically get a pay raise, which they should. But should one that's suspended from his or her duties also as well? All right, so the numbers first. How much does a president of the Republic of Korea get paid? The president's annual salary for this year is 262.5 million won. That's 2억 6천만 원 and then some. So according to the government pay for officials, for public officials, they've gone up by 3%, which automatically also applies to the president.
Okay.
So his monthly salary then comes out to 21.8 million won, 2,180만 원 per month. Once again, this is while his duties are suspended, so he legally cannot do anything in terms of his job.
Yes.
But then keep in mind, he's not the only top government official who's suspended. Also, his second in command, impeached acting president, Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, he gets 203 million won for his annual salary. His impeachment trial procedures also began yesterday.
I see. So those are the salaries, respectively, of President Yoon and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo. And even for the former Justice Minister who has resigned.
Sorry, Defense Minister. That was my
Minister,
bad, yeah.
okay. Who has resigned, taking responsibility for the martial law declaration, is looking to get a government check.
Right. At least for the president and the prime minister, they're officially... their positions are at least official, albeit suspended.
Right.
But the defense minister, Kim Yong-hyun, who resigned, he apparently recently filed for severance. 퇴직급여.
Okay.
So the Pension Corporation for Public Officials, they're currently assessing the application. And then, in a form that you have to fill out, there's like a box that you check out, like a tick for a reason for your resignation, like regular versus like irregular, like normal reasons versus not. He checked regular and then checked none for punitive action. Were you disciplined?
Really?
Well, because technically he hasn't been yet.
Okay.
So we are very skirting on that fine line of technicality. He is facing insurrection charges for, and he is under detention, but he hasn't been found guilty. So that is the line.
Sure.
He also submitted the severance papers by mail on December 10th. That is exactly a week after President Yoon declared martial law. So the timing is also interesting. So the corporation says because the papers came in, they have to assess the papers. He has not gotten any check or payment yet. By the way, if he is found guilty of insurrection and receives any prison sentence, he won't get his pension or severance.
Okay.
However, there are no laws currently against public officials getting their pay, which is taxpayer money, while being suspended or in the process of impeachment.
Okay.
So going back to the president and the prime minister, they're still getting their monthly pay. The Democratic Party has introduced a bill that would entirely cut or at least suspend the pay of a public official who has been impeached by the parliament.
I see. So that's where we stand currently on that. That facet of everything that's going on here domestically. Well, up next, Seoul. Seoul City shut down a company's operation for 6 months for putting on a fireworks show during that period of national mourning that we just had for Jeju
Right.
air
So
crash.
once again, going back to that fine line of what is appropriate. So previously we did cover the story of a cruise company that had an event on Hangang River on the evening of Jeju air crash. The crash was earlier in the morning. And that included, very unfortunately, a fireworks show. So back then, we had many people had comments on how inappropriate it was. Well, Seoul City has asked its operator, Hyundai Marine Leisure, to cancel the event for that afternoon. But the company said because it was too last minute, it couldn't contact all the guests that had bought the tickets. They couldn't cancel. The company did apologize for holding that event in a time of national tragedy. So as a result, the city has decided to suspend that company's operations for the next 6 months on the Han River. But because the cruise primarily operates on that river, basically almost all of its events are canceled.
Okay.
The company was also working with Seoul City on various events, including free cruises for people in marginalized groups. The city has severed all of its contracts as well.
But apparently some people found this punishment to be a bit too harsh.
Right, because according to a legal expert that was interviewed by the press, a national mourning period and the city's request for the event to be canceled, they were all for on voluntary basis. That it's not a legally enforced rule, at least not in the private sector. And this 6-month suspension may be an excessive use of administrative powers. So even the comments, netizens also consider the realities because that was the bulk of your business. That company may go out of business. And it's not just a company and the paperwork.
Right.
It's the employees whose livelihoods depend on that paycheck.
Yes.
Mourning is, again, voluntary. And, whether something's in poor taste or in good taste, that's once again up for maybe consumers to decide. So some people think that for a city to enforce kind of a one-size-fits-all official method may not be in line with, for example, democracy or democratic values.
I see. Well, I can see why it's been brought up again
But it's
to our
tough.
attention.
I mean, it's definitely tough. Was shooting out fireworks on the day of that accident appropriate? No.
And I do question, could they not have... it could be a no, but could they not have held the event without the fireworks?
Right, exactly.
But I don't know what the event was.
Right,
so maybe
right.
it was, the main thing was the fireworks. So not arguing for or against, I'm just saying. We just don't know enough. All right. Moving on. This is in line with our text topic. A well-known amusement park in Seoul is retiring some of its very popular rides.
Right. So the story is very short, but I just wanted to ask you guys, how are you on the rides?
Yes,
Some people are very much against, but they like water rides. Interesting because those are my least favorite rides because, you get wet.
But they're fun.
They are fun.
Yeah,
but then also, if I have a raincoat, then it's fine. But this L World, the famous L World, there's a branch in Busan, but this whole theme park is shutting down a couple of its rides, including the bungee drop, not the big gyro drop, but it's a bungee drop that goes up and down 3 times, and the rotating swing. So that bungee drop, by the way, which you can see on our streaming, it's a 32-meter structure, and that ride just scales up and down the pillar. Maximum speed is 72 kilometers per hour, and it goes up and down, up and down. It's really interesting. Those are all kids. And kids tend to be, and I was one of those kids about that age because I lived right across the street from that amusement park, and I would ride the gyro drop 3 or 4 times. And Kat died a little. I think she's a little dead on the inside right now, just watching it.
Why?
Yeah. I think she just got motion sickness sitting there.
I don't mind the actual roller coasters.
The roller coasters.
But the bungee ones where it's just pure drop.
Yeah.
I don't like those.
It's adrenaline. It's adrenaline, man.
Yes.
All right, fun fact. That particular ride ran for 118 times on average each day, so over 1 million times. The distance it traveled is equal to apparently 11,000 Mount Everest. The swing and even the merry-go-round, they're going to get shut down. The shutdown is on February 2nd. The amusement park didn't really provide a reason as to why, but most netizens think that a new ride is coming in.
Ooh, okay. So maybe we can look forward to whatever those new rides
I'm a big fan of roller coasters without footing, where your feet are just dangling. Yeah.
You just like dangling.
I do. I mean, doing it right now. Too bad you can't see it. She's dangling too.
Am I the only one not dangling in the studio?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're similar-ish height. Okay. I mean, if you want to refute, put a mic on yourself.
Yes, we need a mic. Not a hot mic, though. A mic on the PD.
Yeah.
Finally, this is an alert for people buying directly from overseas sites. What you're buying may not be the brand that you think you're buying.
If it seems too good to be true,
it usually is.
Yes. All right, so this is according to the Korean Intellectual Property Office, KIPO. It monitored counterfeit products of a well-known the rubber shoe brand.
With all the holes.
And, the ones that you can decorate. The garden shoes. And found that 100% of the products sold over, particularly Chinese direct platforms, 직구 sites, were fake. I'm telling you, once again, 100%. So this was a sampling. They sampled, bought one pair of shoes from 16 different platforms on Chinese direct purchase sites. They were suspected to be fake because they were about 40%. So they were even lower than half the price of the original or even cheaper. So the counterfeit items, though, usually you can tell because they'll have words like dupes or S level or something level or ST style, right? However, these counterfeit items flat out said the brand.
Oh, really?
Right, like 정품. The official logo images of the actual product. And even one page said the official seller of this brand was not official.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just flat out,
Wow, that's just
false.
like blatantly lying to me, defrauding the public. I'm like not happy about this. How
Right.
can consumers know? Like, how do you tell the difference aside from like the big price
Exactly.
discount?
So, excuse me, the problem is because they are overseas platforms, South Korean authorities cannot crack down on them. So this falls upon us, the consumer. So unless you have the fake and the real thing, one right next to each other, it's hard to tell. Because, if you compare them side by side, you would know.
Yes.
But once again, go back to the price. If it's too cheap, then it probably is. And then there are, and these are official guidelines, like look at the brand, look at the logo. And we laugh because we have to.
The
if that crocodile or alligator, that reptile is giving you side eye, it's probably not real.
때려보고 있으면 안
If the
되구나.
whites are showing too much, look at the fingers too. Yeah, the whites of, and then where is that the bottom, the buttock, the rear of the crocodile is touching the circular area. By the way, and you might be wondering, how am I gonna, find the real brand?
Right.
If you go to the KIPO website, they will have registered real brands on their site, and you can make the comparison. And also, if you suspect that you've bought a dupe, you can ask for a refund if the seller refuses to give you one. Once again, let's go back to the KIPO. That is the Korea Intellectual Property Office. They have a one-stop reporting center where you can report this.
And I know it might be cumbersome, but if you fall victim, let's report it.
Right.
So that we can
you
stop
don't-
these sites.
You can stop the cycle. Yeah. And don't let these people profit more from what they're doing. Make eye contact with the crocodile. That's the lesson.
염누는 안 돼요.
염누는 not side eye.
흰자
Yeah,
안 돼요.
not this.
Got
This,
it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the tips on how to spot not just the counterfeit alligator sandals, but all the other interesting stories. We'll check in with you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
All right, listeners. Now it is time for your updated traffic and weather. It is now time for our traffic update. It's now 8:18. There is congestion on the upper portion of the Gwangan Bridge right now. So, be aware of that. Also, backed up on Chungjangdaero from pier number 4 to pier number 3. It's looking slow on Bunyeongro from the Wondong ramp to Suyong Tunnel. Currently, it's 3 degrees Celsius here in Santam. The daytime high will go up to 12 degrees. The city is under a dry weather special alert. Across the nation, you might see some snow or rain in parts of Gyeonggi, Gangwon, Chungcheong, or Gyeongbuk. It's relatively warmer, so enjoy while we can. The daytime highs are expected to be anywhere between 3 and 12 degrees. This was your traffic and weather. And this is 그대에게 by 신해철.
이렇게 아쉬워한 걸 아직 내게 남아있는 많은 날들 그대와 둘이서 나누고 싶어요 내가 사랑한 그 모든 것을 다 잃는다 해도 그대를 포기할 수는 없어 어느 곳에서도 끝나는 날까지 나는 언제나 그대 곁에 있겠어요. 내가 사랑한 그 모든 것을 다 잃는다 해도 그대를 포기할 수는 없어요. 내 삶이 끝나는 날까지 나는 언제나 그대 곁에 있겠어요. 이 세상 어느 곳에서도 나는 그대 숨결을 느낄 수 있어요. 내 삶이 끝나는 날까지 나는 언제나 그대 곁에 있겠어요. 내 삶이 끝날 때까지 언제나 그댈 사랑해.
What a great pick-me-upper that song was. Let's get to our text topic one last time. We've been talking about amusement park rides, whether you like them, what your favorite ones are, or, what rides really scare you. So Michael says, at 경주 월땡 가면 파이톤이라고 의자 앉아 다리가 달랑달랑 오늘 왜 이렇게 달랑달랑 얘기 많이 하죠? dangling 달랑달랑 거리며 미친 듯이 질주하는 롤러코스터가 있는데요. 그거 한 번 타고 전신에 힘이 싹 빠지고 다른 놀이기구는 타지 못했던 슬픈 기억이 나네요. 이거 question to you, Michael. When did you go to this particular amusement park? Was it like recently or was it when you were a little bit younger? So he talks about this particular ride, the Python, where your legs and feet are dangling, our theme for the day. And it was like crazy and thrilling. Well, it was so thrilling that, by the time he got off, like all the energy was drained and he couldn't ride the other ones. So that's a memory of his. We have 고수 who says, 제가 놀이기구라고 하면 할 말이 많아요. 20대 친구들과 광안리 this one we can say 이제 없어졌으니까 미월드라는 곳에서 자율드롭이라는 놀이기구를 탔는데 안 탄다고 난리 쳤는데 결국 한번 올라갔다가 가스 충전이 안 돼서 내려왔다가 다시 올라가서 2번 탔어요. 정말 두 발이 땅에서 떨어지면 무서워요. So he has a fear, 고수. He went, Mi World has closed down in the Gwangan area, and so he went on a kind of a bungee drop kind of ride where they ran out of a particular, gas to, I guess, like the hydraulic system, whatever. So he actually had to go on it twice in a row. And so he likes his feet firmly planted on the ground. No dangling for him. Tommy says, I don't fear anything. I love to ride anything, especially if there's a new ride. So he is fearless. So thank you for your comments. And now we're going to go to our special interview. Incoming U.S. President Donald Trump really has been making the rounds lately, expressing interest in buying Greenland and regaining control of the Panama Canal. He claims these areas are important for America's national security and economy because of their strategic locations. However, Denmark, which governs Greenland, and Panama have strongly opposed these ideas, saying they will not sell their territories, and these controversial proposals have raised concerns about international relations and, of course, global stability. Let's learn more about this issue. Joining us is Professor Matt Zierler, who's an associate professor of political science at Michigan State University. Hi, Professor. Welcome to our program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes. So first of all, can we better understand why are Greenland and the Panama Canal so important, not just to Donald Trump himself, but in the context of the history of the United States? Are they important?
Strategically for the United States, sure. They have importance like lots of other places around the world are important, but for different reasons. If you look at Greenland, I think the biggest issue there is the increased melting of the Arctic ice cap and the ability to use that territory. The Russians, for example, have been much more proactive than the United States on trying to claim militarily assets in the region, whether militarily or perhaps for oil or other deposits that are there. So arguably, the U.S. has a security interest to ensure that we have a way to secure our interests in that region.
Right.
It doesn't mean, however, that we require to own it to be secure. The United States does very well around the world in lots of places by just having good alliances. Whereas Panama's a little bit different because that's more for international trade and issues related to transit and the time it takes to get goods from east to west.
Well, thanks for explaining. So how do President, once again, incoming President Trump, President-elect Trump, his ideas compare to past U.S. policies on things like expansion and foreign influence?
We haven't seen expansion of this type, or at least a discussion of this type, since, the 19th century. Yes, the United States made Alaska and Hawaii states in the 1950s. But our last real imperialistic war, right, an aggressive use of force for imperialistic reasons, was probably the Spanish-American War in 1898, which led to the U.S. getting Puerto Rico and the Philippines, among other places. Since at least World War I, but definitely since World War II, there's been a global norm where taking other countries is just seen as illegitimate.
Right.
One of the reasons why there's so much dissatisfaction with Russia's invasion of Ukraine is because they're violating a fundamental norm of state sovereignty. And so, yes, there is a historical trend towards some imperialistic actions by the United States, but not of this type in a very, very long time. And that's probably why many are so concerned.
In your opinion, Professor, do you think he's actually serious when he says things like this? Or is this for posturing? Is he trying to make a point?
Is he serious? It's hard to tell. Given his past administration, it's a lot of posturing. His form of negotiation is to go to the most extreme position and walk it back.
Yes.
That's not how many negotiations go, whether in foreign affairs or in business, because they're risky, because they risk escalating a situation unnecessarily.
Yes.
And in the case of both of these situations, but especially in the case of Greenland, you risk harming and disappointing close allies.
Right. Yes,
I mean,
yes.
Denmark is a good ally. Denmark is a NATO ally, and why, and the idea of sort of antagonizing them doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, what legal challenges would the U.S. face if it indeed the states try to buy Greenland or try to, regain control over the Panama Canal?
Again, if let's say Trump does offer to buy Greenland and that officially occurs, legally that under international law that could occur.
Yes.
But you would have to have Greenland citizens approve it. You'd have to have the Danish government approve it. And yes, it could feasibly happen, right? Technically, legally, there is a way under international law for territories to transfer from one country to the next. However, Denmark has made it clear that they're not interested in doing that.
Okay.
If the US were to use military force to take it, then it would be awfully problematic. I think you see the thing with Panama. The U.S. ceded control over Panama to the canal to the Panamanians. Once again, the U.S. can't take it. We can negotiate better terms on, say, transit for U.S. corporations. We can threaten to withhold certain assistance to Panama, but Panama owns it and Panama has the cards. And so the question is, what is Trump willing to settle? What's the outcome he's willing to settle at, given I think it is likely impossible for the U.S. to gain sovereign control over either of those territories.
I see. And I'm also curious about what the people, the residents and citizens of Greenland, how do they feel? Do we know what the public feels?
Yeah, Greenland's not a large entity, but it's quite clear from everything that's come out that the citizens of Greenland oppose annexation to the United States.
I see.
European, they're linked to Denmark. They have independence. They're doing quite fine. And to be sort of brought into the United States and not knowing what that would be, remember the U.S. has a number of territories that have limited rights. And, if I'm in Greenland, I'd be wondering, what does this mean? And so why would they leave a very good system that they already have in place that gives them a strong partner in Denmark and gives them a lot of independence to do most of what they want to do?
Right. And so how could these types of ideas or proposals or thoughts that are just, being expressed by Trump affect the relationships between the U.S. and other countries? For example, I know it's not in our topic for our interview, but he even has talked about, annexing Canada as the 51st state. And outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said no, unequivocally, that's not going to happen. But is it already affecting some of the relationships, including maybe, South Korea or other countries at large?
Yeah, it makes it really difficult, right? Because Canada itself is going through political turmoil.
Right.
It's unclear after Trudeau leaves, he'll be replaced by a fellow Liberal, but it's unclear if that government will stay any longer or there'll be a new general election that's going to create change of some sort. And this sort of change, I'm not sure, regardless of what political party is in charge of Canada, that Canada wants to lose its strategic independence. What the problem with Greenland and Denmark is he's really negotiating against a strong NATO ally, but which is something he did during his first term when he was really antagonistic towards NATO. And, if you link it towards South Korea, again, South Korea is a long-term ally of the United States for both issues related to international security, but also international trade.
Yes.
If I'm South Korea, I'm wondering what this means for this continued relationship. It's as if Trump would end a strong South Korea relationship, but it's clear that Trump wants to change the terms of those relationships.
Right.
What he hasn't made clear in any of these situations is what outcome does he really want. It's very unlikely that he actually wants more states to join the United States. It would be very costly. Even if it worked, it probably wouldn't do well for his political party if the demographics of the United States change in this way.
Sure.
So again, I'd be out there thinking, what does he really want? What's the key point?
Good question. I mean, of course, we don't have the answers as to what he's thinking. So as we wrap up our discussion for today, Professor, just overall, generally speaking, when we see such territorial ambitions in the year 2025, what are some of the risks and benefits? If you had to summarize, what would you say?
The risks are destabilization. The best thing about the sovereign state system since World War II, even despite all the problems of where to draw territorial lines, is that it's given some stability. There aren't imperialistic wars anymore. You know, if we look at our 300 years of world history prior to World War II, we had lots of imperialistic wars. Today, when they occur, they're really rare. Russia, Ukraine.
Yes.
And so if Trump seems to be unsettling a really important norm of international relations, then that's going to destabilize regions where there are other states that are looking to increase their relative power and potentially threaten smaller neighbors and lead to a lot of problems in the world.
Well, I do want to thank you so much for your time, your expertise, and explain the situation as you know it. Thanks for joining us today, Professor. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
This was Professor Matt Zierler, and we talked about this whole idea of the U.S., or namely Donald Trump, wanting Greenland and Panama Canal to be under the control of the United States. Is that what he really wants, or is this part of the larger picture? We're going to have to wait and see as he is inaugurated in just a few days. And let's get to our next song. This is Rewrite the Stars, and this is by Zac Efron and Zendaya.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so who can stop me if I decide that you're my destiny? What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'd be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight. You think it's easy. You think I don't wanna run to you, but there are mountains, and there are doors that we can't walk through. I know you're wondering why, because we're able to be just you and me within these walls. But when we go outside, you're gonna wake up and see that it was hopeless after all. No one can rewrite the stars. How can you say you're mine? Everything keeps us apart, and I'm not the one you were meant to find. It's not up to you, it's not up to me. When everyone tells us what we can be, how can we rewrite the stars? Say that the world can be ours
You know I want you. It's not a secret I tried to hide, but I can't have you. We're bound to break and my hands are tied.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
It is time for Bonnie and the Health.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Hey, you know, our text topic, we're talking about roller coasters. Are you a fan? Do you like them?
Yes, love them.
Like any and all types?
Yes. None of them are like too scary, except for, I will say, last time I went on, all right, there were not very many people in line, so you went on the same ride over and over again.
Yes.
And I got kind of sick for the first time, like motion sickness.
Really?
Yeah. It was like one of those ones that go like spin and go up.
Upside
and
down?
Not all the way upside down, but like pretty
close to it?
Yeah. And it was.
And you got kind of sick?
I was like, maybe I can't do this anymore.
Oh, interesting.
But I do like it.
Oh, okay. Well, let's jump into our topic for today. What do you have for us?
Okay, so this topic, it's something that has been on my New Year's resolution list for probably years and years. I can't remember a time that it wasn't on my list because I keep failing at it.
Is what?
It is reading more, yes. So it's always a New Year's resolution of mine to keep reading more books. But I wanted to bring this topic to you because not only, I mean, you think, yes, reading helps your vocabulary, it's like good for your brain, but it actually can also help you live longer. So I'm bringing you all these great facts. So hopefully it will encourage me to be better about my resolution and maybe encourage you as well. Okay. If this is on your resolution list or if not.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Always?
Always.
Do you get better at it though?
Last year I did better than the year before. Okay.
It's all relative. Yeah.
It's all relative, right?
Of course.
This year I have started.
Good.
Right. And don't ask me the title of the book because it was a book gifted to us from one of our special interviews.
Oh, nice.
Dr. Dinesh. He sent us 2 copies of his memoir about his story of how he was injured in an accident.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Right. And he persevered, became a doctor, quadriplegic. So I've started, But I mean, So as soon as, it came in the mail, I'm like, dibs, I got to read it first.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, there are many benefits to reading, of course. And Bill Gates, interesting enough, said in an interview in 2016, he reads 50 books a year and said it was the key to his success. Do you think you could get 50 in this year?
I'm not going to lie. I'm not aiming for 50.
Yeah, that's a big jump for me too.
I think if I can do even 1 per month, that would be success.
Me too. That's a goal I think I can do.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett also claimed to know everything about the industry because he read about them. He said, read 500 pages every day. That's
500 pages?
Yeah. That's how knowledge works. It builds up like compound interest. All you can do. But I guarantee not many of you will, which is maybe true. So he's maybe challenging all of us.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Blinkist magazine also reported 88% of financially successful people read at least 30 minutes per day. Now that sounds realistic. We could do that. Right? Tom Corley, author of Change Your Habits, Change Your Life, wrote about a 5-year study where he interviewed self-made millionaires about their daily habits. And of course, he said reading was one of the top key factors in their success.
Yes.
And of course, most of these books were nonfiction books, biographies, history, self-help, science books. But I do believe any kind of book that you enjoy is the most important kind of book for you.
I'm glad.
You'll probably have more success if you're reading something that you enjoy rather than trying to force yourself through it.
Right.
So we learned books can help you exercise your mind and
obviously correlate with some sort of success in your life, but they actually can help you be healthier and live longer. So let's get into these awesome statistics I've brought you.
Okay.
Reading actually helps you to reduce stress. And this is true. It kind of helps you disconnect from the real world, right?
This is true.
Whatever stress you might have with your family or at work, if you can immerse yourself into a book and kind of go into a whole different world, it makes you forget all those worries, makes you forget all your responsibilities. And so this can help you decompress. It can help you relax. It can really actually help you not think about all of those things that would normally stress you
I
out.
put my phone away, like far, far away.
Yeah.
When I'm doing, like the reading, it's like I feel like I don't want to be distracted.
Yeah.
And like even if like my phone is on mute, I might be tempted. To reach over. So I just like.
That's a sign of a good book, right? When everything else kind of dissipates around you, or you can really
falls by the
concentrate.
wayside, yes.
But even a study by Dr. David Lewis found that reading for as little as 6 minutes a day can reduce your stress levels by 60%.
Okay, let's slow down. 6 minutes a day.
Yes.
하루에 6분 can reduce your stress levels by 60%. 60.
Yes, 60.
That's significant.
So 6 minutes a day, that's pretty
That's
doable
doable,
for
yeah.
mostly anybody, right? Even if you're a very busy individual, you can
Yes.
fit in 6 minutes. And so allowing you to kind of escape the real world, but this is also escaping the real world in a healthy manner, right? A lot of people kind of try to escape the real world and deal with their stresses by maybe, going out for a drink or maybe eating some food that might not be great for you, right? But this is a really great, healthy way to escape your real world stresses. And also, reading helps to protect your brain and it will prevent cognitive decline as you get older. So a study published by Cambridge.org was done in Taiwan with almost 2,000 participants over 14 years. It's a pretty comprehensive study. And they found that those who read once a week were less likely to experience cognitive decline like memory loss and alertness in their elder years. And this protection lasted well into their 80s.
This is not even daily.
Yeah.
It's like once a week.
Yes.
Okay.
So this can really help you, especially as you get older, right? Continue to have your memory, continue to have your alertness. And these are all things that are really important once we get older.
Yes.
And that cognitive function protection will actually lead readers to live longer. So we like this as well.
Yes.
Another study by the Journal of Gerontology found that men, and I don't know why it's just men, but men age 70 and older who read daily had a lower mortality or a lower death rate than non-readers.
Wow.
So it really can help you stay alive longer.
Sure.
Reading also helps you sleep because it calms down your brain. So if any of you waivers out there are having trouble sleeping, as I know many people do nowadays, try reading before bedtime. Have this be a part of your nightly routine. And it really allows you to have some off-screen time, which is so important that I've been preaching about this for so long.
Yep.
And this is assuming that you're not reading on like a tablet sort of device.
Like an ebook, right?
Yeah, which is also great as well. If you can only get around to reading because of that, maybe you're traveling and that's the only way you can do it, great. But I do encourage you to read a real book first, if that is possible to do. Getting your eyes away from any sort of light, any kind of artificial light too, is really great for your brain as well. We've covered that.
Yes.
So if you can, get to a real book. And then, apart from all these amazing benefits I just covered, but also reading helps your vocabulary, improves your concentration, your memory, and it also opens up your curiosity and creativity. So it increases your critical thinking skills, which can also help you in school or at work as well.
Sure.
And it also increases your compassion. So the more you know about the world, the more you know about others in the world, the more you're compassionate to them, and the more you can kind of learn about other situations.
Sure.
Because, being in one place, of course, there's no way to get to know all the billions of people in this world and get to know all these different places, but your interests, right? It can actually help you find new interests. It can actually help you connect with different people all around the world. So many different benefits that you can get just from picking up a book.
Indeed. And, going back to your whole point about helping with your vocabulary, when I'm reading, I find that, this word is used this way, and it's like people assume it's kind of like this, like just because you're a native Korean does not make you an expert
Yes.
of the Korean language.
Yes.
And people always assume if you're a native English speaker, you know all the English words.
Yeah.
Not true.
No.
I have not
Not at all.
memorized every single book, and I'm sure, Bonnie, have
Yes,
you?
definitely not.
Right. But then when you're reading, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
it's used in this way or in this
Yes.
context. It means something different.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to kind of, brush up on all that vocab.
Oh, yeah.
It's like getting rusty.
Yeah. And I really do feel like when you read topics that you're interested in or maybe not interested in, it can open up like a whole new world for you. And also there are certain, fiction books too that you can connect to the characters, or
Yes.
you read a book and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel that way too. I didn't know that other people felt this way, or
Right.
oh, this is a situation that it's kind of similar to a situation that I've been into. So it allows you, it's almost like therapeutic in a way, right? So it can help you connect to different people without you having to, release things that you've been feeling to other people.
Right.
But it's a form of therapy as well.
Well, we do have some people who say, for example, Leslie, who is an avid reader. Her
Oh.
goal is 24 this year. So
Good for you.
We all know she is a bookworm in the best way possible. She
Yes.
loves books, right?
great.
However, how about for people who are kind of like, oh, it's been so long. Like,
Yeah.
How do I get started?
Actually, me too. Okay, so these are tips that I'm telling to myself as well. So I do encourage finding a topic that you like.
Okay.
And I used to do this too. I used to start a book, and if I felt bad about not completing it, so I would force myself to continue reading. But if you don't like the book, it's okay to stop. It's okay to let it go and get on a new topic or try a new book that you do like.
Right.
Set a time in your day that you read. Put it on your calendar. Maybe have a specific time in the day where you can be by yourself, where it can be nice and quiet, where you don't have any distractions, and you have that be your reading time. Also, this is great to have a checklist where you can keep a record of the books that you read, so you can kind of see your daily progress, and you can see, you can kind of reward yourself. Like, oh yes, I checked this book off, or I've completed this book. So kind of having a record for yourself. And then this is also great. Joining a book club. And I think this is becoming a little bit more popular.
Yes.
Especially you can do a virtual book club if you have friends around the world, or in-person book clubs. It's really great kind of keeping yourself accountable and others accountable as well. But also being able to discuss the book. It's really great to meet people in person, face-to-face, and have these discussions.
I'm giggling because my youngest, she dragged me to the library.
Oh.
And then she borrowed, what was it, the long one? Guns, Germs, and Steel. I haven't read that in forever. And it's really, really thick. Like, it's like this thick. And she's like, I'm going to read the Korean version, Mom. Why don't you reread the English and we'll have a discussion?
Wow.
And I gave her the look like... I was like, okay, honey.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. We all need one of those daughters. I need one of those.
And the thing is, it's kind of scary. This is what I used to do with my mom when we were younger. Like when I was younger, my mom used to read the Korean version of the classics, and then I would read the English, and we would try to have a conversation. But my Korean was so bad, and her English was so poor that we're like, "Are we talking about the same book?" But
that's great practice, though.
Yes, really. So I have many indicators, people pushing me these signs saying, read more. So this is the year.
Yes, this is
So I'm just going to keep it at 12.
That is
24.
good enough.
Yes.
You're extending your life expectancy just by doing that.
Okay. If you say so, Bonnie. I trust in everything you say. So anyhow, thank you for giving us a great motivation for those of us who are looking to read more, or people who are considering it still. It's not too late because the Lunar New Year, it's coming up.
Exactly,
So
yes.
maybe we can revamp our list.
Yes.
Right? All right. Well, thank you. We'll check in with you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody, this was Bonnie with The Health. So it's time to wrap up today. Thank you for all the messages and for tuning in, chiming in. And this is Life is a Roller Coaster by Ronan Keating. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.